This is the newest addition to Glamping Doodles.
I finally got some new wheels to tow behind the RV. It's a 2014 Ural Motorcycle with a sidecar. It's powered by a 749cc air-cooled 4-stroke motor. It's normally one-wheel drive, but if the conditions call for it, you can flip a lever and engage two-wheel drive. Above all, it's really fun and pretty cool. I'm looking forward to exploring the USA in this thing.
For the past year or so that I've been RVing, I've just used my rig and haven't towed anything behind it, didn't have a car. I had an electric bicycle I used some and had a regular bicycle to get around. But we've always kind of been hemmed in a little bit by not having a vehicle to get around. I always had to pick RV parks that was within walking distance or cycling distance from restaurants and things to do, just because I didn't have wheels to get around. And a lot of these RV parks, especially in the smaller towns and stuff like that, you don't really have much access to Uber and ride-sharing platforms like that because the towns are too small, or maybe you're out there in the middle of nowhere. So I needed to get something that I could tow behind the RV. Now it couldn't be too heavy because it's a gas-powered V10, but I can't pull like a 5,000-pound truck or something like that. So I was pretty limited on what I could do. Really, the only two options I really had were something like a Chevy Spark or a Fiat 500, but it'd have to be a manual Fiat. Or I guess you could do an old Jeep or something like that, but those are kind of crappy too. And none of those cars are really cool, man. I mean, like, you know, a Chevy Spark would have been the most economical thing to buy. I could buy like a 2 or 3 year old Chevy Spark for $12,000 or less, but it's a Chevy Spark, man. Those things are boring and ugly and Or I could go with something cool. This thing is not the most practical. If it's raining, I'm gonna get wet. If it's hot, I'm gonna sweat. It's loud. It's not very fast. It has a 749cc air-cooled engine, so when it's hot out, the engine gets hot. So you have to watch your temperatures when you're riding and all that. It's, I mean, it's not very fast. When you're accelerating, it wants to pull to the right. When you're decelerating, it wants to pull to the left. But one thing this thing does have is the cool factor. I mean, everywhere you drive around, you're catching somebody, you see the heads turn as it goes by, because just people haven't seen something like this. There aren't very many of these around. I was actually looking for a motorcycle with a sidecar. I got on Craigslist, got online. The only one I could find for sale in Dallas was this 2014 Ural. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It is Russian made, well, but most of the parts are third party now. I mean, like Brembo brakes and things like that. I mean, there's very little of this thing actually probably made in Russia anymore. And so you just get the cool factor. And one of the unique features of this is it does have two-wheel drive. So the other wheel on the sidecar, I can flip a lever and then I can engage that one as well. But there is no differential. So the two wheels want to spin at the same rate. So if you're making a turn, especially if you're trying to, it doesn't really turn all that well in two-wheel drive. It will, but the differential doesn't let one wheel spin faster than the other. There is no differential. So it wants to go straight ahead in two-wheel drive. But kind of the cool thing is I haven't really taken this thing off-road yet, but people say that, I mean, you can go off-road and get in some pretty remote places in this thing, and I'm looking forward to trying that out. So I'll go over some of the features. It has a 5-gallon gas tank. It has a 749cc air-cooled engine. 2014 model introduced fuel injection, so it has a lot more power in it. It has a 4-speed gearbox and a reverse, which is really nice. Having a back, it'll reverse so you can back this thing up. It's definitely a needed thing on something this size. It weighs 730 pounds-ish. Obviously, two-wheel drive, I mentioned that earlier. The suspension on this thing is actually quite good. It's a comfortable ride, especially in the sidecar. It's very cushioned very well. It's a real nice ride in there. With the windscreen on everything, you don't get too much wind on either seat. It does have kind of the additional stuff. There were options. You know, the 2 LED lights over here. It's nice when you're at night because then you have 2 headlights. You look more like a car, just more visibility. That's kind of the nice thing too, is it's a bigger, it is a motorcycle, but with the sidecar it makes it a lot bigger, so you're a lot more likely to be seen. You could put like a little luggage rack on top here. I've still got the one that came with it, but this has a battery solar power tender on it. Just to keep the battery topped up whenever you're parked somewhere, if you leave it on. This one, the additional, has a 1 gallon kind of a jerry can fuel, you know, reserve tank that you can carry around with you if you want or go on a longer trip. Spare tire on the back with a luggage rack. And then in the back, it does have a good amount of storage in there. You can keep your helmets and like the tonneau covers and stuff like that to go over that, or whatever you want, you know. I keep, you know, a bottle of water or something like that. It's a pretty comfortable, but so it's a lot of space. It does have these like shin guards here to keep the bugs and rocks from hitting your legs as you're going. Like I said, it's got the Brembo brakes, so those are kind of performance brakes. It does stop pretty well. Like I mentioned earlier though, when you are stopping, it wants to, when you're accelerating, it wants to go right. And when you're decelerating, it wants to go left. And that's just because of the sidecar, right? If you're in, I mean, even if you're in 2-wheel drive, but especially if you're in 1-wheel drive, just the back wheel, because the motorcycle wants to kind of accelerate and get in front of that sidecar when you're accelerating. And when you're coming down, the sidecar wants to keep going around. So you have to adjust for that. It's definitely a different ride. It's not like riding a motorcycle, because you can't lean. You know, you can, you know, if you give it a quick hard left turn, you can pop it up on the 2 wheels and fly your sidecar. And then if you're trying to go so far really quick right, you're going to kind of crush into that sidecar. And so you do have to be careful cornering, because you got to go slower, because you can't lean, right? And so you don't want to tip this thing over. I'm sure you're wondering, okay, great, it's cool, you're going to have it, but how, you can't tow this behind your vehicle. Well, I actually bought a trailer that comes with it. So the trailer will hold this, plus a few other things. You know, I can put my bicycles in the trailer. It's a nice size trailer. So this weighs 730 pounds. The trailer weighs 900 pounds. So, you know, I'm at, you know, 1,700 pounds, like, you know, 1,630, whatever, pounds. And my RV should be able to handle that pretty well. So I'm looking forward to taking this thing out and exploring. Gonna go out into the desert some this fall. And getting some places in it and go down some trails and do some cool stuff. We may even head down to Mexico in the RV, down in Baja, so that'll be a good spot for it. I'm really looking forward to trying this thing out. There is a pretty cool video by FortNine, he's another YouTuber, that did an excellent video on the history of Ural, and he gets better into the components and actually gives you some test rides and tells you a little more about it. I'll link to that down in the show notes. So pretty cool, so check that out. And then, man, I'm looking forward to getting out there and going. So thank you guys for watching. I'm excited about it, and hopefully you guys are too, to see some of the content we make in this thing. And we're gonna have a great time. Please click that like button and subscribe. Can't do this without you guys. And of course, our channel memberships. Click the join button down below right next to the subscribe button, and you get early access to videos. Like our members got this video right here early. They get special icons and everything, so when they make a post or a comment on there, I see that they're a channel member, and then you guys can see that too. So it's pretty cool, guys. Thanks for watching.